this meeting
Right,
all
so
about?
FDA, what is it?
What's your understanding?
So there's a new client that has joined the client team. They have a few frustrations in this queue.
Just to frame this up a little bit more, this new decision maker is coming in and they've inherited FCB New York. We haven't met them yet. This will be the first opportunity that we have to meet, and we're going to get into character now. Hey team, how you doing?
Hey.
Hi, Paul, Jared, Chalice.
Paul Shapiro, nice to meet you finally face to face.
Kitty,
Wait, Laszlo.
Hi, Kitty, nice to meet
Laszlo
Jared,
and
yes.
Sally,
Nice to
how are
meet
you?
Sally.
Here, please sit. But it's good to meet you. I know we have a ton of work to do, and we just found out about you. I just started. I mean, I've been here now 4 weeks, so I know we've had to cancel a couple meetings already. What's going on?
We're here for you. I guess the first question I would ask is, I know you're busy, but do you have time later in the day as well? Anything free for additional conversations, or is this?
No. I mean, let's get started. We thought it was worth having this meeting because we wanted to just meet you
Okay.
and hear just a little bit about the agency. And yeah, we'll have time this week to continue this if it makes sense.
Okay.
We're trying to figure out how we're going to move forward on a couple projects. So we'd like to understand what you've done for us in the past. We've seen a little bit, but we haven't seen a lot.
So we've done.
Alright, so let's start with what have you seen? So
Well-
we know where to pick up.
I will tell you that we've seen your hacked campaign.
Alright.
Yeah.
What do you
How-
think of it?
Not a fan.
Not a fan.
Not at all.
Okay, what was your biggest issue with that campaign?
I don't even know where to start, but I found it to be utterly confusing.
Okay.
And I didn't get it at all. And the people that we've spoken with, are crazy about it, and it's not changing behavior. So we've got some pretty big problems with it, frankly. Don't think it's at all addressing the e-cigarette challenge.
Okay.
So, yeah, how's that for honesty?
But hey, we
Yeah.
thrive on honesty.
So how would you say the campaign is working, given those numbers?
I would say we haven't been in market that long. We're just launching earlier this year. I don't think there's been enough time. You have to think about it very much as the same way that cigarette messaging started.
Yeah.
In the 70s and 80s. It's a slow burn. It is a cultural thing that these teenagers are doing. They're using it to fit in. They're using it to be friends, make friends, etc. So it is a large barrier to break through. And this is just the
Past month use of cigarettes 3.6 among 8th graders, e-cigarettes 9.5.
Yeah.
And we're focusing so much of our budget and efforts on the wrong thing. I don't understand why your agency hasn't been beating your hand on the table and getting us to think differently about this.
Yeah.
We've been craving the opportunity to build new
Yeah.
messaging around e-cigarettes, and the old company was not for it. So we're guns blazing. Like we're ready to go. We just did rounds of research with these teams, asking them about e-cigarettes. We have a lot of new insights that will help us lower those numbers.
Creative we didn't have time to develop creative because it takes like a year and a half.
So we
There's
use
new
that.
messaging in the
A
market.
year and a half.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so we're obviously operating on a much different timetable. Because if it takes you a year and a half to develop creative, we are definitely with the wrong agency. We need to be creating content constantly, weekly, daily. I mean, this is about keeping it fresh, and I don't know what we've done in the past, but we're not going to continue to grow and change behavior by having messaging that's out there that's 3 days old, let alone a year and a half old.
I mean,
Well, we were happy to cut testing times.
yeah, I mean
That we
the challenge was twofold with both with us and with the other agency or the other company before you guys took over. There's a lot of red tape that has to be navigated when you're messaging, when you're doing a public health initiative. We're willing to work with you guys to shrink the timelines. A lot of it is hand-holding and going forward together to figure out where there are pockets where we can cut down days.
and come up with that
Yeah.
efficiency.
Yeah, we
of
do
like copy
understand. We
testing.
do understand those challenges. We have to be smarter than the challenges that are in front of us.
Sure.
All right. So what else? What else do we need to talk about today?
I guess so. You guys have been mentioning e-cigarettes as your main focus. As you know, we also talk about we split resources between e-cigarettes, talking to teens about combustibles, and talking to teens about the effects of chewing tobacco. So one of the ways that we could possibly make things go faster is if we're willing to pull some resources away from those other campaigns. Not saying we leave them for dead, but right now we have equal weighting across all of them. We can pull some resources and we can focus on what your main purpose is over the next year or 2 years.
Well, I don't think we're in a position to do that, Kitty. And Kitty and I are going to be focusing now exclusively on e-cigarettes. So
Okay.
you are going to still be working with your counterparts
Okay.
on smokeless, meaning the chewing tobacco
Yep.
piece, and also on the traditional. So you're going to have to manage us separately if it makes sense.
Sure.
Sure.
But we're not necessarily married to any concept of going down the road with an agency. In fact, Kitty was talking this morning a little bit about how much of this we could manage internally as well. So we've got to just understand a little bit about. So who are you guys again? I'd like to understand.
Yep, I'm Jared, again, the account lead on the account services side of the business.
And I'm Sally, I'm on the strategy side of the business.
Right.
And Leslie, one of the creative leads.
Do you guys attend every meeting?
Well, depends on the meeting.
Okay.
Do you want us to ever meet?
Again, this is just a quick opportunity
Sure.
to get to know you guys.
Beyond, you say you've been having on the table for moving towards more e-cigarette messaging.
Yeah.
Are there any other issues you think we're not confronting, that really need to be confronted, especially in the division
Well,
that Paul and I
We, at the end of the year, we'll find out our goal for smokeless tobacco is currently the last leg of the survey is in market in Q4. So we'll find out if we've reached our goal of 300,000 teens staying away from the use of smokeless tobacco. We reached our 400,000 goal with keeping teens away from cigarettes last quarter on the combustible side. So I think with regards to what else we want to jump over as a hurdle, I think we're in agreement with you. Like the focus is the e-cigarettes, just from a pure standpoint of how many teens are adopting this new.
Right. I
Or-
mean,
or
do you have a
strategy-wise.
strategic plan for how you're approaching our business?
Yeah. So the plan, there's three prongs to the strategy plan. The first plan is we want to hone in on the piece that is similar to cigarettes, the piece that kids know, which is the nicotine and how dangerous nicotine is. This has been drilled into their mind years and years and years that nicotine is dangerous and it can get addicted to whatever substance you're using. So that's the one link between cigarettes and e-cigarettes that is dangerous to teens. So we're going to play on the strong point of nicotine. We're going to also take that to the next level.
You say that's been drilled into their head. And that's
True.
all I see in the Hacks campaign. So how, if they already know it and it's been drilled into their heads, how are you going to change behavior by continuing to?
Yeah, so there's a
Well, what they don't know is that they know about nicotine, but e-cigarettes and nicotine is not as strong as a link as cigarettes. And nicotine. So that's something where we can they already are scared of cigarettes and because of nicotine. So that's where we can kind of extend and use this knowledge they already have and kind of build this link between cigarettes and e-cigarettes.
So the one thing that we learned
They don't see it.
when we were going through testing is nicotine alone isn't enough. So that's why we want to connect it to cigarettes, because when you talk to them about cigarettes and nicotine, they're like, nicotine is a scary, scary thing. When you talk to them about vaping and nicotine, it's not as strong because a lot of the vapes out there, they don't even have the word nicotine on them. Like, it's not anywhere because it's yet not regulated. So they don't see it as dangerous, but they're the same chemical. So we need to figure out a way, and that's what one of the spots is doing, is showing the connection that, look, teenagers, the same nicotine that's in cigarettes, it's the same nicotine that's in vape. It's still dangerous.
And Jared and Laz brought up some good points, but maybe we can set up some extra time to take you through the operating plan in more detail, and we can see if we want to revise it together now that you guys are on board.
Yeah, and we're really happy to hear that you want to get
Yeah,
work out that.
I would like to hear from you guys on the next meeting too, of like what the old company, what you guys were like the biggest challenges, both with the campaign and with us, so we can figure out ways to navigate those.
Right, if we truly only have 5 minutes, do we need to talk about our 2-week need?
2 week
Or do you
meeting.
not want to go there?
We need something turned around pretty quickly. I'm not sure that you are in a position to do it for us or not. It's more PR oriented. Are you handling the PR work right now, or is it only the digital platform?
It's in partnership with another agency.
All right. So
But what is the
we're meeting
need?
with them later today.
Yeah, and they, I think, have thoughts on how to handle all of it.
Okay. Just the whole notion of the refills and we've had probably 400 calls to poison control centers all over the country from the liquid nicotine ingestions from brothers and sisters of teenagers who have these refills laying around, and it's becoming a real problem.
So
And
it's
we need to
hard
start-
Well, if you're open to it, we could maybe sit in on that meeting you have with your PR team.
Yeah.
To see how we can help.
Is that typically how this works?
It is, usually you would brief us, and then we have partner agencies that we pull in for specialized treatment.
Okay, so Steve is the one who set this up with us for Edelman, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let us get back to you on that.
Okay, I'll reach out to my contact at Element as well and see what they know and how we might be able to
I
collaborate.
prefer not to confuse them. Let us just handle that, and we'll let you know if it makes sense.
Okay, let us know if you need us.
Yeah. What else you got? Anything else that we need to talk about?
If we're not gonna go into detail on that, then no, I mean, I think we've heard. what we need to get.
Kitty's under serious pressure to get this done, so let us have a conversation. We'll let you know if it makes sense to come back in and have a deeper discussion about that.
Okay,
All right.
thank you. And then can we set up time for another debrief with you guys later in the week?
I'd love for you to come back in and really walk us through how we got to here. I don't want to move forward on anything until we have a understanding of how we got to this current campaign, because
Okay,
I don't get it, guys. And,
Sure. Yeah, we can take you through
I
research
appreciate
on
the
it.
fact that you're excited
Yeah.
about moving forward, but if you could help us understand how we got to something that's confusing out in the marketplace,
sure.
it would be good.
We can show you all that.
Okay.
Okay.
Good.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Relax, sit down, have a seat.
Oh, we can.
Yes, don't run away. First of all-
That's me a sell-off.
First of all, you get extra kudos for going first. So
Yeah.
now you're starting to see, folks, they're setting the pace up. Congratulations on that. So team, FDA, let's hear from you first. What strengths did you bring to the table? Where were the strong parts of this meeting? Which was a challenging meeting. Right away, you're meeting a new decision maker and they're in your face about the work that's been done in the past. How many of you have experienced that before? Don't even raise your hands. Everybody's hand is going up. So whoever would like to start, Sally, let's go with you first. Where do you feel the team and yourself are strong?
Sort of at least like the market and the consumer and what their mindset is. So I think that was probably a good strength to show Paul.
Okay, all right. How many of you also saw that, right? Really strong know-how and knowledge of what's going on, which is super important to know our stuff when we walk into a situation like this. Excellent. What would you say, Jerry? Strength.
I would agree with Sally. I felt like we did a pretty decent job of fending off a few of their pushbacks about why we decided to do what we did. Obviously, in the follow-up meeting, we'll need to bring the proof to why we decided to do rehab.
Right, right.
I guess it would have been. I would say that was one of the strengths.
Okay, that sounds wonderful. Leslie, how about you?
Yeah. And also, yeah, exactly. Jared improvised very quickly and very well. I think Jared is one of our strengths.
Skill, what skill? The ability to do what?
Improvise.
Handle the ball under pressure. Got to go with that, right? So that I'm amazing with that, right? Now, my next question is, where do you feel you want to strengthen your game given this meeting? What would you say, Leslie? You've got a thought. Go ahead.
Well, I mean, we did improvise because we didn't know. Like normally, when you go into a meeting, you would know a lot more than we did.
Okay. Remember, though,
Or you would wish to know about.
Yeah.
right, you would wish to know a lot more, but remember, we have new decision makers and new team members coming in and so on. And even if not, our goal is to look at the same people with a different lens so we can get them to a different place, right? So,
I think also the ways of working, I guess, are a complete different switch from what these two wanted from what we've done
Mhm.
previously. So that was,
Yeah.
I guess, doing a little bit of research on how they'd possibly done things in the past with clients, and knowing that they're more about speed and they had that capability would have been something that we could have done research before.
So let me ask you this. What is one of the most important skills you can bring to the table when you walk in anticipating a situation and now you've got to, they've got different things in their heads? What's the one most important thing you can do?
That's why.
Yes, ask questions. Does everybody get that? You ask questions, help me understand, right? And you did do some of that, but there were opportunities to bump that up to a different level, right? And that's important to do. Sally, what would you say?
I think I'd like to see maybe just like a little bit more structure to the conversation. Like it just felt like it was a bit all over the place, and
So what could you have done, you and the team done, to control some of that?
maybe just reset and sort of explain a bit more like the situation in the upfront. So like I think we were saying it was like a cigarette campaign, and we had to retrofit it to a cigarette campaign. So maybe explain how that happened, and then what we're looking to, what changes we're looking to make in the
We
future.
could have aligned on a meeting agenda beforehand.
Yeah.
You bet. You bet, absolutely. And once again, these are great aha moments right here, because we run into situations like this all the time. Or if we haven't, we certainly will, right, given the context of our clients. Let's go to our clients. Kitty, we're going to focus first on what you felt was most effective about the team and the strengths. So we'll answer that first. And then after you and Paul answer that, we'll go to advice you'd give them. Go ahead.
Well, I would agree that your in-depth knowledge and understanding of both the process and the content, you know, how you got to where you got, was great. I love the fact that even though Paul was acting completely non-FDA and completely counter to the way the FDA works, you guys didn't go, what? You were like, yeah, we'd love to do that, we'd love to jump on that opportunity. So I felt like you were
Can you actually tell me
listening.
FDA client?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was trying the whole thing, but it was like, yeah, this is what we're doing. Great.
So I felt like you were diving in and showing that yes, we can play. We're eager to play. I like the fact that you said, can we sit in on the Edelman briefing? You didn't let your little hackles go up. You know, I felt were very focused and mature about that.
Yeah. Would everybody agree with Kitty's feedback? I mean, you didn't lose your cool, you were calm, cool, and collected. That curiosity, and also too is not just caving when there was pushback, but helping the client understand what happened in the past and some of your challenges. Good stuff. Paul, what would you say, strengths?
So it's hard not to bring up your composure because it was really good. I thought that would have been a very difficult meeting for me to have been sitting on that side of the desk to have. And not only did you keep your composure, but you went back and really tried to dig a little deeper and understand where this client was coming from. Really appreciated that. You didn't get defensive, but you also were strong.
Yes.
So that you didn't just let us beat you up. You came at it from a level of empathy and excitement, and I thought all of you did that. And I appreciated that pushback a little bit. I appreciated the fact that you were hoping for this new day as well, because we could see that. So that was good.
Let's go to Kitty now. What advice would you give to the team to up their level of excellence? One thing.
One thing,
Let's focus.
Oh God, is there many?
I don't know if this is a fair comment to make, and I didn't know the difference in terms of engagement. I found it very disturbing to have someone in the meeting who said almost nothing.
Yep.
I found that very strange and weird. And to have such a strong leader and no presence, and then I did get a little bit of defensiveness, I felt from you. I felt you were basically communicating what you just communicated, which is what, look, you guys are fucked up. You did that, not mine. I did get some of that.
I will try to
So-
pull back on that, but I mean,
I know,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like, so, but I found it. I
Yeah.
felt that, and I felt like, I don't think this team likes working with us. So if this team doesn't like working with us and doesn't care, why should I be busting my chops?
Right. Yep. Okay. All right. So it's things to pay attention to, because we have clients like that. They have a certain set way of working, and it can be frustrating. Or new leadership comes in and they want to throw us out with the baby in the bathwater together. And guess what? We have to deal with that and turn it around and say, "Well, I'm glad we're here, because guess what? We want to hear what your vision is for that brand, so that we can take some of the challenges in the past and turn them around and get moving." Right? All good stuff. Paul, one thing, advice.
If you were to enter a meeting like this, I would think you would want to know what makes us tick.
Yeah.
More than anything else. So we're 6 weeks into this job. Like, what brought us here? If you would have simply started with that question, you would have found out that my father died of emphysema, and that this has been a mission-driven, purpose-driven, career change that I made to end this epidemic. And now to see my own children vaping, but whatever it was, that stuff would have come out. It would have gotten emotional. It would have gotten personal for both of us if you just would have done that. And then, how about you guys? What have you done in your careers where you've earned this seat at the table? Not only do I not know anything about you or your agency, you didn't ask anything about us. So right off the bat, it became all about the work, and frankly, you became just like everybody else like that, because we didn't let this meeting breathe at all, or try to understand who we are, which I would say is more important than any part of the project would be. So, that was the big thing. I also thought that your questions were, first of all, I said you did ask questions. This was not a one-sided show up and throw up meeting. You were,
Or defend.
you did come to the table with some curiosity, but it was very superficial. And you don't have to know anything to try to understand the past or what's inside your head. And I would say that one of the things that I would focus on is the deepening of the questions, and I know we'll talk a lot about that this afternoon.
Okay, excellent. Here's what we're going to do now. We're going to take some comments from all of you, from the observers. Not everybody obviously has to make a comment. We'd be here till 10 o'clock tonight. But who else has some feedback, whether it was a strength that you saw on the team or advice that you would give them? Mike, back there, and then we'll go with Meg. Go ahead.
There was, at one point, Paul, you were saying, Kitty's stressed out about this one thing. She's got this 2-week assignment. That was a perfect opportunity for the agency to say, "Oh, how can we help? How can we take some of that pressure off you and be proactive?" And that helps build confidence and trust. At a time of need, and just especially when they're new clients and you're trying to win that amazing first impression. That's a great way to kind of get a foot in the door. And especially if I think there was a moment there where it was "Oh, you guys do who you are? Build the business.
Excellent.
Always be selling."
Right. Meg.
So I think they showed a lot of flexibility. I think specifically with the pushback in timing and you need this immediately. I think they showed pretty much, how can we work together to make this happen. So that was
That definitely was a positive. Very well done. Yeah.
I had the same comment as Meg on the timing. I thought the pushback about regulatory timing and a little bit of it's not all our fault on that was terrific. I thought when the meeting opened and you first found out that you only had 20 minutes versus the hour that you thought, the initial reaction was, well, let's see if we can find some time later in the week. I think that when that came later in the meeting, that was appropriate, but I think right up front should have been a sort of buckling down and let's get through what we can right now.
Right.
And then
Yep.
whatever we can't get through, we'll talk about it.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jerry. Jeff?
It was a great opportunity also in the getting to know them phase to say, great, well, we came prepared, we have a lot to talk about. What's most important to you? What would be the best way to use the 20 minutes that we have, since we don't have the full hour?
Right, because they might have some burning needs, which they did. They had something very hot and heavy on their mind. I'm going to come back to our coaches. I'd like to ask and get some, Andrea.
First of all, mad props for going first. So I thought you guys did a phenomenal job. I think as soon as, especially in the 20 minutes, as soon as you kind of got wind that the clients didn't like the campaign, and you did this at the end, but perhaps a little sooner, you could say, well, hey, we'd love to come back and walk you through all the ins and outs of what went through. And if you could just offer that just so you can redirect the 20 minutes to something that's more about the chemistry that you can build better.
Yes, Lauren.
So one of the things that I think is you have to be careful on what you promise the client, right? So you guys had a conversation around combustibles, chewing tobacco, and e-cigarettes. Knowing that a lot of clients, there's different work streams, right? So they might be one brand working on different things. It's very hard to go in there and say, well, maybe we do less on tobacco and less on, on combustibles and concentrate more on e-cigarettes, because that's more of a team decision versus this new guy who's trying to learn the business. and really try to figure out like how can we get you even more, you know? Maybe we need to work on the strategy a little bit more together because somebody was here before you and they might have had a different vision. But I think you have to be careful on taking away from other clients that you're working with in the same area to figure out how to work with these guys.
Okay, and last comment, Joe?
Small thing, but I think for first impression would have made a real difference in how it then went was you guys had the room first and then they came in to join you and you gave one of the clients the worst seat at the table so that the meeting had actually started happening and you were talking to Paul before Katie had even had a chance to sit down, which sort of meant that you were all focused on Paul and kind of cut her out a little bit.
Sorry, Katie.
Baxter.
Having sat in many meetings with Katie, I know it's a kiss of death to do that. But that could have set you guys up all together as a unified team and set them as a unified client team. And it could have made for it to be more of a one-to-one conversation versus you had, like, your head was on a swivel a few times, your head was on a swivel, your head was on a swivel. So you were always ignoring one
I also
versus.
never heard you guys say FCB help.
Well, there was
I'm
the,
sorry, FCB.
yeah, no, but
I
it's the
never heard
value
FCB.
proposition, which we'll talk about this
Paul
afternoon,
said,
is
who are you
strong.
guys? And you didn't say FCB, copy, boom, boom. You just said your names again. I never knew you were from FCB.
Well, I assume we have a meeting at FCB.
All right, we're gonna move on.
Like
For the
it's
sake
our
of time,
office.
we got lots of opportunity to have discussion and dialogue. What's that?
Because I feel like typically what I've heard is that you shouldn't have the clients on one side and the agency on the other. And yes, the seating for Kitty was kind of poor, but the swivel I think is good because when the clients are kind of interspersed, you know, you are more of a team dynamic as opposed to, you know, the clients all on one side and the
I think the point here is, as long as you make sure you're enveloping everybody, and Kitty was rather left out until she decided to get herself inserted into the meeting, that's all. I totally agree with that. All right, let's give this team some wonderful appreciation.